Well, we all woke up this morning and looked outside and saw this sign. Oh, this is Talladega. Guess we better get ready for qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series.
Look at this, Mike.
Quarter midgets.
Awesome. Love the kids racing. Green, green, green. Here we go. And how about that? An Earnhardt out front at Talladega.
Well, a 3-car, right?
Well, it's got to be an Earnhardt, you know.
Oh, well, that's right. If you get
An Earnhardt fan. One way or another, it's an Earnhardt, Mike.
Well, we're ready to qualify, and the first car on track is going to be Austin Hill, who yesterday won the pole for the Xfinity race, driving for Beard Motorsports in the Realtree Chevrolet.
Tell you what, buddy, weathered a storm last night in many ways. It was a storm in that infield, and also, oh, Mother Nature poured on these guys in the infield, having a good time. Did not slow the party down. Had the big one on the boulevard. It was so much fun. Wendy's has a huge activation here in an arcade, Mike. It was so much fun. Saw Bob Pockris dancing in an arcade. Can you believe that?
Not until I see footage.
Buddy, you've done it.
Going to be video. All right, single car qualifying, and it's 2 rounds. Instead of an A and a B group, because there is no practice here, it's all one group, and the top 10 advance to round 2 to run for the Busch Light pole. Austin Hill has 1 Cup start, came at Michigan last fall, and 4 wins on NASCAR's drafting tracks or super speedways in the Xfinity Series.
Pretty cool to see Realtree on the side of that hot rod. Obviously, you know, Beard Motorsports being affiliate of RCR. First time I ever went hunting was with Bill Jordan. Still have the rifle that he gave me and never forget that experience. Went with the Realtree boys. Think a lot of old Bill and everything they've done with that brand. Pretty cool to think it all started with a camo pattern.
Absolutely. Well, now you've had 2 front row starts here at Talladega. What is there a secret? Is there a key? Or is it, as one driver once said, your grandmother could qualify here?
So a big racetrack, right? The key is to get up through the gearbox, get that run with only 1 lap. As you see here, completion with Austin Hill. We'll see what he runs. And this is the thing. I just caught myself, right? Went through the tri-oval. We'll see it right here. No, not at Talladega. Start-finish line on, down, around the corner. Very unique about this racetrack. And I've lost a race or 2 because of that fact. That'll come into play tomorrow.
Todd Gilliland up next. He has 1 top 10 in 2 starts here. Now, he's not in his usual rides. He is in the Generators Kills Ford for Front Row Motorsports.
So I need to answer your question real quick, Mike. The key, what you can do, you know, inside the car as a driver at this huge racetrack, get up through the gearbox, get that momentum up, get up to the top of the racetrack, and then just hold that pretty wheel that you hear us talk about. I always lock my elbow into the seat going through the corners. Do not move and saw on that wheel. It'll slow down your momentum through the corners. I mean, we're talking crumbs, but that's the difference. And then, oh, Larry Mack, you're going to have to take care of the rest. I'd say it's all about getting through that tech line, huh?
Well, that and that 5th spring underneath that hood called the engine.
The old water heater. A lot of straightaway handling here. That is key to success.
Todd Gilliland quicker with a 53.849. BJ McLeod in the Blaster Chevrolet for Live Fast Motorsports, finishing up his run at 54.297. J.J. Yaley is in the Bennett Southern Corporation Ford for Rick Ware Racing. He's in the 51 this week. And this is Riley Herbst, who made his Cup Series debut at Daytona, where he finished 10th. He has 6 Xfinity and 1 Truck Series starts here.
We had, as I mentioned, the big one on the boulevard, always kind of unique and fun about the atmosphere of Talladega. Riley was out there, got to spend some time with him last night. Good kid, a lot of fun. I mean, can you imagine a Vegas boy being fun, huh?
On track now, Ty Dillon in the Nation's Guard Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. Josh?
Down here with Brad Keselowski, the active wins leader here at Talladega, so I'd imagine you got to feel confident coming into this race, even with the chaos that might ensue.
Yeah, I feel really good about this weekend, Josh. We were so strong at Daytona and Atlanta, leading a lot of laps and almost winning both of those races. We brought the same car back here with the Cash Reg Ford Mustang, and I think it's going to be even faster here in Talladega. So, not sure what to expect for qualifying. You know, not having practice or anything, Josh, it's really hard to get a read for that. But for the race, I think it's going to be a rocket.
Thanks. Good luck, Brad.
Thanks, Josh. Ty Dillon third with a 54.03. The top 10 will advance to run for the pole. Now, this is the 38, usually driven by Todd Gilliland. More details on this later, but Zane Smith will have several Cup starts in this car. He's making his fourth start and first Cup Series start at Talladega. This is the WellCare Ford for Front Row Motorsports.
Thing I love about that is, you know, it didn't come at the expense of just getting rid of Todd Gilliland. They put him in another car. Todd's been doing a great job. I think when this first was announced, I was like, dang it, you know, Todd lost his ride. Not the case at all. Both have been doing a, you know, exceptional job. Zane Smith, truck champion, good kid. Like this opportunity for him.
Now, you saw the launch by Noah Gragson yesterday. Austin Hill said his launch off pit road was key to winning the pole for today's Xfinity race.
And there you heard it, getting up through that gearbox, getting that launch, not spinning the tires too much, but getting it all. That's creates that momentum that is so needed at this racetrack. I will say, as big as this racetrack is, though, Larry, you get up to the top, you make this thing as big as possible coming into the green. Probably not as important as Daytona, but still, anything counts, right?
Yeah, I mean, every little bit counts, but right here, this is what we always kind of focused on, Clint. I would say you did too, is that transition off the wall to make it down to hug this double yellow line, now to run the shortest distance around this 2.66 mile track.
Yeah, that's a key. Shortest way around is the fastest way around, and obviously Gregson's doing that. But just like we talked about, business is going to pick up as we go through the line, get to the cream of the crop here. But starting to see, look at this hand up in the air, doing everything you can to create that speed, filling that gap in the window net, that arrow. Have you ever done anything like that, Larry, over the years?
Now, see, when I share stuff with you during commercial, we're not supposed to go to air, but I guess considering it's over 30 years ago, I'll share it. We went
This is cool. Listen to this, guys.
Out blocking off the left side window was definitely worth something. Well, how can we do that? So we made a complete full piece of clear plastic that Velcroed to the back side of the window net, and we didn't fasten the window net. We only did it for qualifying. We didn't fasten the window net until the driver was just about ready to leave pit road. When he completed his lap on his cool down, like you see Noah right here, he reached up there and yanked that piece of plastic off the window net and put it under his seat.
That's what's so cool about this sport. You know, the crafty, I guess, craftiness behind all you guys, the legends of this sport, that you know, that was so neat to be able to see what you could get away with when you come down here, bend the rules a little bit, find that gray area, push that gray area, get through. You know, I can't imagine you had to go through the Hawkeye and everything else back then. But how did you know how to do that? You mentioned the wind tunnel. It really surprises me in 1989 that you guys had a wind tunnel.
Well, we've been going to the wind tunnel since the early 80s. They may have even been there in the late 70s, but, you know, there were no wind tunnels locally. We had to go to the GM tunnel in Detroit or Lockheed in Atlanta, which is where the Fords went to a wind tunnel right there. But we blocked the window off in the wind tunnel. It was worth some counts of drag. It's like, well, we can't do that. Let's come up with the next best thing. Let's just block this window net up.
So, if you, of course you remember, and you probably have this in a note somewhere, what did it pick up?
Lord, I'd have to. I definitely still have the wind tunnel notes. Trust me, I do still have those. But any little something was worth the effort.
Cool story, buddy.
All right, Harrison Burton, the Motorcraft Quick Lane Ford for the Wood Brothers. He is fastest now at 53.69. And this is Eric Jones in the U.S. Air Force Chevrolet for Legacy Motor Club. 5 top 10s in the last 6 races here. He'd be an interesting pick for your fantasy team for tomorrow.
Great pick.
Yep.
You know, probably be over in that long shot category, but not in my book. That big win in Daytona, I'll never forget that. I was walking around the coach lot afterwards and actually loading all my stuff up, and Eric come by with his trophy and big smile on his face. That boy knows how to get it done on these super speedways. See that car crabbed out just a little bit. Got some toe going on there, finding some speed. Getting that spoiler out of the air, so important here.
Jones to the top of the chart, 53.69 with a 3. Ten cars have qualified so far in round 1 at Talladega. Here's Josh.
Down here with Chase Elliott, the most recent winner here at Talladega. I know it's been a week since you returned from that leg injury, so how's the health? How you feeling going into this one?
Yeah, I feel good. I don't really have a lot to report, I don't guess. Just, you know, I was happy with our performance at Martinsville. At least the last run, you know, was better, so that was good. And felt like I was pushing really hard, so that was all really encouraging. Yeah, you know, we're here, so it's a good thing, and we'll make a lap and kind of set our focus on tomorrow and what we're going to have to do to execute a good race here this weekend.
Chase Elliott, 2-time winner here at Talladega, guys.
Thanks, Josh. Now here is Austin Cindric in the Menards Duracell Ford for Team Penske. But Larry Mack, they had some inspection issues yesterday.
Yeah, teams went through inspection yesterday afternoon, and of course they're impounded before this qualifying. When the 2-car went through the first time, and what you do, you go through on struts. You go through the entire inspection process, the optical scanning station and everything. They passed the first time through, and then they were pushing their car to the garage area to install their coilover shocks. NASCAR saw them make an adjustment to the car that is deemed an unapproved adjustment after they've been through inspection. They made them go back through inspection. They failed the second time. They did pass the third time. They're letting them make this qualifying lap, which is important. This is the only lap prior to the race, but it's deemed an unapproved adjustment. They lost their car chief, they lost pit selection, and they will go to the rear of the field to start the race tomorrow.
Thanks, Larry. Austin finished 9th here last October. That's his best at Talladega, and he goes to the top of the board, 53.49. Justin Haley for Colleague Racing, the Leaf Filter Gutter Protection Chevrolet. Haley's best finish here is 11th in 6 starts. Of course, he has a win at Daytona.
Another one that I wouldn't, you know, count out at this racetrack. That's what I love about Talladega and these super speedways. Wild card race. You know, if you can weather that storm and get this thing to the end, you just might see a Justin Haley in victory lane.
Well, the last how many drafting races have been won by 30-1 shots or higher? So could make for an interesting fantasy pick. That would be the last 4 races on drafting track, or 4 of the last 5, that is.
Larry, I'm really digging these stories. Again, folks, these breaks have been awesome for Larry, telling all these stories and telling on himself 30 years ago.
Yeah, note from Brad Moran, Larry gets to start tomorrow's telecast at the tail end of the longest line.
But as we've learned, I don't know the statute of limitations on all this stuff, Larry, so
well,
you had another story for us, right?
I lose my booth selection. So
what was this other story you were telling me about? Come on.
You know, Larry did win the Xfinity pole here last year with an Earnhardt.
Yeah, how did you? A lot of things have changed from the 80s and 90s to 2022 last spring.
It was cool to see the smile on your face on that pit box. I'll never forget that.
Absolutely.
You couldn't wipe that grin off your face if you tried.
Here's A.J. Allmendinger for Colleague Racing, the Farm Smart Chevrolet. 3 top 10s in 18 starts here. He won an Xfinity race here last fall. Now our ghost car is going to be the bubble car, 10th place, because the top 10 move on to the final round. The order of qualifying determined by NASCAR's scoring metric that takes into account point standings, last race finish, and last race fastest lap. Allmendinger second. And that will bump Riley Herbst out of the top 10. Corey LaJoie in the Celsius Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. Corey will be on our pre-race show tomorrow on Fox talking about the NEGU charity, Never Ever Give Up, helping kids with children's cancer and brightening smiles on the faces of those kids with hospital visits and toys.
See Celsius on the side of that car. Been doing a lot of activation on our sport. Appreciate that. Whether it's LaJoie, and I think they do a lot of, with a colleague group.
Going to be close here for the top 10. He's got to beat Zane Smith, 54.06.
It's picking up, buddy. We found what we found over almost a second from the time we started over Yaley. I think we're going to find another half second. Can we? Do you think we'll get to that 53.02? Can we break into that 52-second barrier? Larry, what do you think? I guess not.
Well, LaJoie's in for now, 54.05 to Zane Smith's 54.06. Puts Corey 10th right now.
So close. Christopher Bell. It was last fall, actually, 53.02, right on the verge of that 52-second bracket. Be pretty cool to see.
Well, if you need a top 10 pick for your fantasy pool, Michael McDowell has been top 10 in 3 of the last 4 races here, including both Talladega races last year. This is the Love's Travel Stops Ford for Front Row Motorsports.
You know, Clint, you look there at Eric Jones and Harrison Burton. There's only 2 1,000ths of a second separating their time. One thing that we noticed, Eric Jones did a better job of getting through the gearbox and getting to high gear quicker, just a little bit, than Harrison Burton. It could be those 2 1,000ths right there.
Absolutely. We talked about it. It's all crumbs. You know, when you get down to it at a track this big, it's all the little tiny things that stack up to a little bit of difference that makes a difference in those, you know, 4th and 5th, or maybe the pole.
McDowell, 3rd fastest. That bumps Corey LaJoie out of the top 10. And here is Brad Keselowski, 6-time winner at Talladega. Didn't have a lot of luck here last year, but this is the Castrol Edge Ford for RFK Racing.
He's my pick, buddy. I think it's his turn. I think he is definitely, you know, capable of getting the job done at these super speedways. This track in particular, his first win came here. I'll never forget that. Literally flipped Carl Edwards. I don't think Carl will ever forget that either. Won the race, and then won his last race here as well. So I think it's time. Might see that 6 ball in victory lane. Got those chrome numbers on the side of it. You see the hockey stripes down low. Pretty cool signature thing that they're doing with RFK that represents each of one of the owners that's involved with RFK. Always part of the paint scheme.
Well, he should bump in handily here, probably in about 6th, 5th. How about 3rd? 3rd fastest for Keselowski. 53.61 bumps Ty Dillon, moves Austin Hill to the bubble.
Larry, seeing these 60s, you know, a 49 just barely breaking into the 40s, I don't know. I think we're safe. I don't think we're going to see that 53.02 like we saw in the fall race here, or even the spring race with Christopher Bell. Actually owns both of those.
Now explain this, Clint, where they launch from where the cars are staged, but then they have to stop in front of the NASCAR official.
Safety, and I don't mind this. Forever, we used to start this with the brakes pushed back, no drag at all. And you did that because you have to survive, and this is where the safety comes into it. In fact, if in fact your car's fast enough to make it to that final round, you have to roll around here. As a driver, that means, okay, I've got to get this thing slowed down and stopped on that front straightaway with no brakes. So I'm going to come down here and get down through the gearbox. I'm going to start slowing down immediately as soon as I get to the start-finish line, roll around this 2.5-mile racetrack, and somehow, some way land in that pit box. And my crew guys are going to have to slow me down from knocking the wall down and running somebody over. That's what used to happen here. So having that as a rule, it's the same for everybody. You're going to have the springs that push those pads back. You know, it just changes the game a little bit, Larry, right?
So Austin Dillon is now fastest, excuse me, Larry, 53.49. He's top of the chart.
Yeah, the biggest thing is you would run different brake packages for different tracks. You'd run kind of a smaller brake package here versus big brake package at Martinsville. These packages are all the same on this next-gen car. The only thing you have liberty to play with is the friction of the pad. So this is the same brake package that was on a car at Martinsville last week.
So Austin Dillon, the Bass Pro Shop Chevy, fastest 53.49. Here is rookie Ty Gibbs.
Man, look at that straightaway handling.
And the Monster Energy Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing.
See him filling that void, the gap, if you will, in between the window net there. That's why his left hand is not on the wheel up there. Easy peasy, easy to drive around this racetrack by yourself out there. You get 3 wide and you get all the rest of those drivers out there ready and hungry for a win. That's when business really picks up.
Now, no practice here. There was some just, whoa, 53.29. Business is picked up.
Yes, sir. You know, and his teammate, look back, owned both of the front row, starting 52.92, like I was saying in the spring, and a 53.02 in the fall. Last time we were here goes to his teammate Christopher Bell. So it doesn't surprise me that Gibbs camp, you know, has the speed.
William Byron up next in the Liberty University Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. 2 top 5s here in 10 starts, including a second-place finish in the spring race 2 years ago.
Right down low to the bottom of that racetrack, making this baby as small as possible. You'll see these cars being pretty rigid in qualifying trim. There is subtle things that they can do that they allow to pull back out of it after qualifying. Remember, folks, no practice at all. This is the first time any of these cars have been on a racetrack.
One thing we saw with Ty Gibbs, he did a really nice job of getting off pit road. He did not spin the tires or anything. A lot of people's been spinning the tires leaving, but Ty Gibbs did a really nice job getting off pit road.
William Byron is 4th. Here's Josh.
Here with Ross Chastain, who won this race last spring, so I'd imagine even with no practice yet, not being on the track, you got to feel kind of comfortable about what you got for this race.
Yeah, Josh, first off, I want to say hey to Abigail Singletary back home before we get going this weekend. But yeah, I mean, definitely last year was a really special time for all of us on this one team at Trackhouse. But my philosophy is that now I probably owe this place a lot. And if I have to pay it back, it was worth it for that win last year. But yeah, a ton of confidence in everything that Trackhouse is doing and everybody on this Moose Fraternity Chevrolet. We'll go fight tomorrow, and that's all we can ask for is a chance, and we have that for sure with this one car.
Thanks, Ross. Good luck.
Brian Preece on track, got his first Cup pole last week. He's in the Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford for Stuart Haas Racing. It's going to take 53.74 to bump in here. And Preece is in 4th fastest with a 53.50.
Yes, sir.
Chase Elliott among those next to qualify, and we'll have a special guest join us right after this. Chase Elliott rolls out to qualify in the Napa Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. 2 Talladega wins in 14 spots, including last fall. He finished top 10 in both races here last year. And I've asked P.J. McLeod to come up with the booth and join us for a while. One of the first drivers to go out and qualify. And we don't get a chance to talk to you often, but I figure here's a great opportunity to talk about just some of the challenges of running against powerhouses like Hendrick Motorsports on the track right now. with a small team in both resources and people.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for the invite. It's awesome to be up here with you guys. You know, it's really the number one thing is information. You know, budget controls that, and they have a lot of information that's difficult for us to get, and we work hard to try to catch up on that and get quicker and you know, speed up that curve, right? Because it's all about trying to close that gap to the bigger teams, because we have to learn in a different way.
Well, that's what I love about this racetrack, BJ. How is your mentality different? I mean, you have to survive this thing. Everybody has to do that. Get to the end to be a part of that, right? Be in that shot for the win. What's your mentality going into Talladega? You know, with the experience I've got at these tracks now, I just go off my gut. I was fortunate enough to get to race with Newman some and talk to him and learn what he did. And he was really good at always being at the front of these things at the end. And Michael McDowell's another one. And they've both helped me a lot, learning like the energy of the field and what you see. And, you know, we don't have the speed to really drive up to 10th anyway, so that's not an option for us. If I could qualify 10th, I'd try to stay in the front all day. But where I qualify, I don't have that option. So, you know, I just try to move up to, you know, as far as I can.
Chase Elliott is not going to bump into the top 10.
That surprises me a little bit. You know, going back to Daytona last time we were on a, you know, super speedway, those cars had all the speed. But you know, that being said, they haven't won that race either, you know, and I feel like talking to Jeff Gordon and some of their mentality changes. They want to handle. They want those cars to be able to handle, kind of like we were talking about. You can trim these things out to have the speed in them, but if that baby doesn't handle when it comes time to go, you're in trouble.
Kyle Busch up next. 9 top 10s and 35 starts here. Top 5 in this race last year. This is the McLaren Custom Grille Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Now, you have 2 top 10 finishes in the Cup Series, BJ, both on drafting tracks. So you must have had this race circled.
I think that plays into what we were talking about, right? The mentality of it.
It's obviously one we have circled every year because it's the only one we have a real shot to win if things go our direction. We're obviously going to need attrition to make that happen. We don't have a winning car right now, but we have a good car and we're getting better every year. So it's something we obviously circle and work very hard on being as good as we can be when we come to these tracks.
I heard you talk about we don't have the speed. We don't have a top 10 car, but we're capable of finishing there and even competing for a win. That's what's so unique about these super speedways, BJ. But how to survive that? You know, you've still got to get through pit road. You're going to see probably more than likely a green flag pit stop. Cannot make a mistake there. Larry will tell us all the time about all the, you know, pit road speeding penalties and all the things that people beat themselves with. Have to clean those up, right, to be in that thing. But you talked about the energy. How do you know, you know, when it's time to go? And man, I don't like that. They're 3 wide. I don't really feel like that, guys. You know, that car's all over the place. What do you feel there?
You know, for me, it's watching the side drafts and the bump drafts. It really, with this next gen car, has turned into that. And when you see it getting too aggressive, you have to get out, right?
Pull the chute.
Yeah, you do, and you see a lot of the champions and the winners do that.
Look at this, a little bit of green here.
Yep, Kyle Busch has bumped in. He is 5th fastest. That knocked out Harrison Burton. Puts Eric Jones on the hot seat here against Daniel Suarez in the Tootsie's Orchid Lounge.
Buddy,
Chevrolet.
Still my favorite paint scheme. Sorry, BJ, I know you have blasters on the side of your car, but hey, there's been some people I've seen blasted in Tootsies before. That's a good one, man. Steve, I think Steve's coming to the race tomorrow. Can't wait to see them boys. Always cool to see Tootsies on the side of a hot rod.
Definitely an awesome paint job.
Suarez just barely bumps in. He is 10th fastest right now. Josh?
Down here with Joey Logano, 3-time winner here at Talladega, and always a major player when it comes to super speedways. So what's been the key for you on these type of tracks?
Well, you got to have a little bit of everything, right? You got to have good speed in your car, which shows a lot today in qualifying. But you got to have a car that can move around the pack and do some big moves, take pushes. That's one thing with these cars that's really big, is you got to have a car that can take a push really well, because it's going to get aggressive at the end, especially here at Talladega, some long straightaways. So we're hoping that our Shell Penzo Mustang has that. It's a bit of a compromise through all of it, so we'll see where we stack up here.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks.
Right now, Toyota, Chevy, Ford in the top 3 spots. This is Chris Buescher with 2 top 10s in the last 6 races here. The Fastenal Ford, a longtime sponsor of RFK Racing. So you've had we used to see a lot of the independents come to the track with local sponsors on their cars. Now you got a big national company on your car with an advertising push supporting what you're doing on the racetrack. How does that change things?
You know, it's awesome when you can get a partner like Blaster on your car, because they have a lot of friends and reach a lot of area, and it's really cool to see the fans that correlate the two between the NASCAR races that they're on our car and sending us pictures of them in the stores buying product, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool. Our fans are awesome, and it's really good to have that happen.
Well, hey, I'm a believer. You know, I love. We're talking about Blaster. I just lived it. You know, we replaced the blades on my old bush hog at the ranch and could not get the bolts off of that thing. You know what did it? You know what did it, BJ? Blaster.
Yo, that happened for me with my dad when I was 5 years old. He handed me my first can of Blaster, and we got some rusty bolts off an old Jeep. It's just awesome stuff.
Massive cussing, Mike. I could not get that bolt off. Finally went and bought a can of Blaster. Happened. Got it off.
Great products. We all use them. Larry Mack, Chris Buescher, second fastest on his run.
Yeah, Mike, this is the only track we really go to where the start-finish line is located beyond the exit of pit road. So we're able to look at the get-up-to-speed lap. Right now, Ty Gibbs, no surprise, fastest get-up-to-speed lap at a 59.38. Chris Buescher was just behind him, though, at a 59.41. The get-up-to-speed lap tells us a lot about what that lap may be like on the actual qualifying run.
Makes a big difference. Tyler Reddick finishing up his run for 23XI Racing in the Money Lion Toyota, third fastest now. Puts Brad Keselowski on the bubble, because here is Bubba Wallace for 23XI. Got his first Cup Series win here. And this is the Columbia Sportswear Toyota. You have BJ McLeod's with us. You have your car in the Cup Series. You had Anthony Alfredo in it. There's a different driver from time to time. What determines whether you're in the car or somebody else, or should I reach for my wallet?
No, it's obvious. We're trying to make sure we build the team to the level we want to race at. When I say we, you know, Matt and Joe and Jessica and I, we want to be a competitive team every week. And in the Cup Series, that's top 25, right? Like, you really, once you get to top 25, you've seen some people get to a win at that position, right? So it helps when partners that are with someone like Anthony Alfredo want to be a part of our team. That helps grow our team, and that's what we look at and we make happen.
P3 for Bubba Wallace.
Great lap.
Josh.
Yep, down here with Denny Hamlin, checking out the board right now to see where everyone's at. Obviously, you're a multiple-time winner here, so how are you feeling about your chances heading in?
Pretty good. You know, just got to make sure you keep it in the racetrack till the end. That's the biggest thing, especially with super speedway racing in general. But glad to be here in Talladega. Great track for us. We'll see if we can't get a great finish. Thanks, Denny.
Great plate racer right there.
Eric Almirola on track for Stewart-Haas Racing in the Smithfield Ford. Finished top 10 in 8 of the last 13 races here, not including none in the last 5 starts here.
BJ, everybody has, you know, if it's not the powerhouse teams like you see a Stewart-Haas or a Hendrick or a Gibbs, everybody has an affiliation. What is yours, and how does that work?
We've been fortunate enough to get with ECR engines for this year, and it's definitely helped us out. And you know, we get some help here and there from RCR, and everybody at their camp's been great to us. And you know, it's not an alliance, but we have a great friendship over there that is definitely helping us a lot. Like with Vegas, we had a lot of speed, you know, throughout different runs. We got to minimize mistakes and put everything together, and that's really difficult for a small team. So
now that's a great point, because back in the days of the independents, Buddy Arrington would get Richard Petty's last year cars. Wendell Scott would get hand-me-down cars. There are no hand-me-downs anymore with this car, are there?
No, there's not, and I actually enjoy that, Mike. I ran hand-me-downs for 12 years, and now we've got next-gen cars, and I have no choice but to buy new ones. So
it's literally what changed the game for guys just like yourself. This charter system, it has created value, you know, in that back half, and that's how you build. You know, you have the charter, you have the value, you have something, you have an entity, and then you can build on that. Bring in the partners like you have with Blaster. Keep building on your program. Next thing you know, you look over and you're running with the big boys.
Absolutely.
Yep. So now you have Ricky Stenhouse on track. Top 10 in 9 of 19 starts here. Of course, he's the Daytona 500 champion. And this is the Kroger Cheez-It Chevrolet.
great plate racer. You will see this boy at the end of this thing. If he ain't caught up in a wreck, he'll be in that shot coming off of 4 for victory lane.
He is not going to be in round 2 of qualifying, however. William Byron holds down the last spot right now at 53.55.
Well, one thing's for certain, that's not the race-winning car from Daytona.
No.
That baby's sitting in Daytona. You have to leave that thing here. That's the only thing that sucks about that. You win the biggest race of the year, right? Well, they take your car.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Good problem to have. But, man, that baby was pretty fast, boys. How about taking this one? I want to race that thing.
Kevin Harvick, top 10 finishes in 3 of the last 4 here. He won here in the spring of 2010. This is the Mobil 1 Ford for Stuart Haas.
A little bit off on speed. It tells me they have some drag in their car, some, handling, going for the handling aspect. I promise you that engine under the hood, Doug Yates and the boys, they know how to bring the horsepower here. This is always one of their best racetracks. They always shine here. He always takes a lot of pride in qualifying. I know that firsthand. But you have to be able to handle here if you're going to be in victory lane.
It's going to be close, but I think he's going to make it. Larry, did you see anything in the data on Ricky Stenhouse's run? We thought he'd be a little quicker.
I did, Mike. Something does not look right. The RPM was way down, like about 200 RPM lower from most of who we've watched qualify. So that kind of reflects the lap he turned in that 47.
But that would also be a part of drag, possibly. So I don't know.
Kevin Harvick, 4th fastest now. Kyle Larson will be in this next group to qualify. We're in first round of Cup qualifying. Ty Gibbs fastest so far. Kyle Busch is on the bubble to move into the final round. And up now is Alex Bowman for Hendrick Motorsports. Josh?
Down here with his teammate Kyle Larson, winner of 2 of the last 3 races. So how do you carry that momentum into a completely different track than this?
Yeah, I don't know. It's super speedways haven't been the best for me, but neither was Martinsville. So I don't know. I mean, Hendrick stuff's always really good at super speedways, so that helps. But you still got to make all the right decisions on the track to align yourself in the right lanes and track position wise. If you can be up front, obviously you miss the wrecks a little bit easier, and that's not something I've been good at positioning myself. So just study as much as you can throughout the week, and I always feel like every time you come back to these places, the style changes just a little bit. So you got to learn on the fly once the race starts. But all in all, I know my HendrickCars.com Chevy will be fast. I don't know how we'll qualify. It doesn't seem as the Chevys are as quick as we were at Daytona. So we'll see. But wherever we end up, I know we'll have a good shot come tomorrow.
Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle Larson there.
Been racing all over the place. He was in Eldora this week, raced across the street last night in a late model, won a modified race. I saw his late models all tore up in a picture. Jackie sent a picture of that. Jacqueline, sorry. Just amazing. It really is. To be able to get in something, never raced a modified before, pulls it in a victory lane, rolls over there, 50,000 to win tonight. I'm going to go over there and watch him. Be exciting.
That should be fun. Now here is Alex Bowman, Daytona 500 pole sitter. Not going to be in the second round here at Talladega.
Again, just kind of takes me back to, having handling. They've had those poles, they've had the speed, showed off at Daytona, but they never show out in victory lane. And that's what it's all about. You've got to be able to get to the end of this thing. And if that thing's a lawn dart all day long, you're going to be in a wreck.
19th. For Bowman. Ross Chastain, the Moose Fraternity Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. Top 5 in both races here last year. Win in the spring race, led just the last lap. PJ McLeod's with us. Are there certain drivers you prefer to draft with and others you try to stay away from? You don't have to. I'm not looking for names.
Yes,
I don't mind.
Do you kind of? Okay.
Yeah, let's go. So with a single car team, you can't be picky. Right. Whoever is willing to push my bumper, I'm in. Whoever is willing to have me push them, I'm in. It's just about being there with 10 to go, and somebody's lost their buddy because there's been a wreck, and they need a friend, and we have a good engine under that hood and a good car to be pushed.
So your friends are where you find them.
Exactly.
Walk into that dance party, stag. I like it. Figure it out when you get there.
Absolutely.
Ross Chastain, 16th, will not advance to the final round for qualifying. This fellow likely will. Christopher Bell won the pole for both Talladega races in 2022. So here's Bell in the Ream Toyota for Joe Gibbs. And at the bottom of your screen, getting ready to launch.
Prime example.
That goes Penske Ford.
You see him just barely on the bubble there. Probably changed it. You know, he was the fastest car last year, both races, but he finished 22nd and 17th in those. I want to be able to pull into victory lane. I keep saying victory lane. I know it because that's what it's all about. I don't care if we set on the pole here today. You know, it's fun, and it's fun to come here and start up front, have your sponsors, your partners up front, and you know, be a part of that. But as soon as that green flag drops, it's all about rolling over there in that checkered flag area.
Larry, how was Bell's get up to speed lap?
It's right there with what Ty Gibbs's get up to speed lap was, Mike, right on top of it. Remember, Bell set on the pole here, I think, both races last year.
Third in round one, 53.38 for Christopher Bell.
E3 should be close.
Pretty sporty.
Yep.
Close, you're good. Close to the pole and plenty safe. We're going to go to that final round with that one.
Ryan Blaney has back-to-back wins here, fall of 2019 and the spring of 2020. This is the Worth Ford.
Hard to believe we're talking about Ryan Blaney in a drought. You know, over 50 races, I think, you know, since victory lane. So needing a win, it just might happen here tomorrow. You talk about finding that dancing partner, BJ. All right. You know, you earn that, right? They know at the end of this thing, everybody kind of gets shuffled around, your teams, your allies, everybody's gone, maybe, if they get caught up in a big one or something like that. And man, I couldn't, you know, if I'm out there and I'm thinking, look at BJ, the fenders are all on it. He took care of this thing. He had that mentality and that game plan going into this race. This is a good pusher. Just like you said, you have that ECR engine under the hood. Pushing. How do you, you know, we talk about a bubble behind the car, you know, breaking through that bubble, keeping the momentum, keeping the success rate going forward, the energy that we hear him talk about. How do you manage that?
You know, it starts with letting people know in the garage that you have a good piece that week, because obviously we're a small team and sometimes we don't have a good piece, right? So I have gone around to different drivers, Elliott, Chastain, just to name a couple.
I got you.
Yeah, I got good engine this week. I got a good car, like, trust me. So it starts there, but you know, it's really about just making sure you execute pit road, because once you do that, you can hang on with as good a car as we have. And at that point, it's all about watching the lanes and which one's moving. And like most of the time, to me, the bottom's not as good to try to go through the field like it has to be middle or top, right? So you have to just look at how the race plays out and how many cars are left also. Like that changes it a lot, because it changes the energy in the field.
Now Ryan Blaney timed in third. Larry said he had the fastest get up to speed lap of anybody so far. So Blaney in third. That knocked out Ryan Preece. You see Austin Cindric is on the bubble for Chase Briscoe.
Look at his finger. Had surgery on that finger. You can see it's still got a splint, and it is that finger, BJ. It's still showing everybody number one. But kid's had a long week. He toughed it out. Waited 2 races to be able to get through Bristol. Broke it the night before Bristol, and then ran Martinsville with a broken finger. Pretty tough cat behind the wheel.
Number one, that's his position.
Hey, look at
Briscoe
that.
is number one.
Here I am selling his finger and didn't even realize he put it on the stop here. Awesome.
Joey Logano's last win came here in the spring of 2018.
So close. Look at the lap. Unbelievable. 28, 29, a 30, 33, 38. Very, very close. Very tight.
You know, if he bumps Austin Dillon, Larry points out, we may not have a Chevy in round 2 here.
I can't help but to think that's by plan. You know, it has to be. I think that they, you know, showed their strengths. They showed in Daytona that they can find the speed. Obviously, they set on the pole with Bowman. But I think here you see that speed down, see these Fords fast. You know, that's the key. All right. Well, if I have to slow this thing down, put some drag in it to be able to handle, well, Doug Yates and boys, I need some more horsepower. We're just going to be better all around.
Well, the Shell Pennzoil Auto Trader Ford for Logano, 5th fastest, and that does bump Austin Dillon.
This is why we talk about that. The pole winner has only won the race once in the last 23 races. Doesn't matter. I hate to say that. I know that's what we're doing here. We're selling qualifying. I don't want to sit on the pole. I want handling in that hot rod.
Larry, Martin Truex Jr., is this another one of these Toyotas rocketing off the pad for that get up to speed lap?
Mike, he's over a 10th faster than anybody on their get up to speed lap. And I think the ghost car is reflecting it right now.
Very tight in that window. We talk about that bubble. Man, you're a 45 and 8 with Harvick, 47 Wallace, 49 with a 6, and 49 with a 7 is out. Those late 40s are very, very dangerous right now.
So the top 10 separated by just 0.2 of a second as the Bass Pro Shops Toyota completes its run. And Truex is 4th. That will knock Tyler Reddick out of the top 10.
Wrong side of the 49.
Yep. 2 cars to go. Denny Hamlin, 10 top 10 finishes here with 2 victories, the last one coming in the fall of 2020.
If I'm Bubba Wallace and company, obviously Denny owns that race car, but I'm worried. I know that he's got the horsepower. I look over in the sheet and I see his teammates, Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex Jr., they're fast in the 30s, 29 for a Gibbs. I think you're going to see this hot ride, and just like that in the ghost car, he's going to be a part of this next qualifying session.
The FedEx Freight Direct Toyota for Hamlin.
This 11 car is not only flirting with the top 10, he's flirting with that top spot right now.
The difference 1st to 3rd.
This might be close.
2 100ths.
Flirting with the pole.
3rd for Hamlin in round 1 with 1 car to go. All Fords and Toyotas in the top 10 to transfer to the final round right now with 1 car left, and that is a Chevrolet.
Well, Bubba, we'll see you tomorrow.
Kyle Larson, top 10s in 16 starts, finished 4th in the spring race here last year. It's the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports.
Saw him check that win off at Martinsville. That was a big win for him, meant a lot to him. You don't see him get, excited and really show that excitement very often, and I know that was pretty important to him. This one, he openly says that, in his words, I suck on super speedways, and a win for him would be a huge confidence booster. But you gotta, you have to have the package. You can't always just say, well, that was bad luck. I got caught up in somebody else's wreck again. You got to look in the mirror every once in a while, change your approach to this race, and not be a part of that, always in that storm.
Going to be very close to making the 2nd round right here. Remember what we talked about for off of 2.
10th for Larson, 53.44 by 1.5 hundredths. He knocks Kevin Harvick out of the top 10 to advance. BJ
What are we
McLeod,
talking about? What was that? What are we doing off of 2? Come on, BJ.
Putting the hand out the window. That's what he was doing. Pull the hair off the spoiler.
Oh.
All right, BJ, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Hey, good luck here tomorrow. You and
really
the
appreciate
Blaster
it.
Chevy.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, final round coming up. "38 cars have made their qualifying laps. These 10 will line up and run for the pole at Talladega. 5 Fords, 4 Toyotas, and Kyle Larson Chevrolet. 2 of those will start on the front row in the GEICO 500 tomorrow. We'll find out who next. The USFL season continues tonight. The Memphis Showboats take on the Birmingham Stallions, 7 Eastern on Fox.
Right down the road.
Tomorrow, the Michigan Panthers versus the Philadelphia Stars, also at 7 Eastern, and that's on FS1.
So you're a showboat, Todd, or are you a stallion?
Oh, I don't know. The Stallions sound cool, but I guess showboating's good, right?
It's all about being a showboat.
Boyer's a showboat. Josh. Josh?
Ty Gibbs, second on the board in round number 1. How you feeling about what you got as you try and now secure the pole?
Yeah, I feel like we got a very fast Monster Energy Toyota Camry. Proud of my team's efforts for this one. The 54 boys did a great job kind of working on this thing all week, getting it dialed in. I'm happy with the car. Just got to see if we can find a little bit more there in next round.
Thanks, Ty, and good luck.
He's very excited for this second round. You can hear it in his voice. Here are the 10 drivers that will run for the Busch Light pole. Everything's all cooled down for qualifying right after this. Welcome back to Talladega, where we're ready for final round qualifying. Let's check with Josh.
Here with Christopher Bell, and I remember talking to you at Daytona, and you said super speedway's not your favorite tracks, but you performed pretty well as of so far. So how you feeling heading into this one?
I've gotten lucky at the 2 races. That's why I did good. So we set out a goal to obviously try and get better at the super speedways, or however that works, basically accumulate more points over the speedway races, and we're off to a really good start between Daytona and Atlanta. So today doesn't mean anything other than pit stall selection, and we made the second round, so we'll have a decent pit stall for tomorrow. Hopefully we can get an opening where we don't get boxed in. And yeah, the Rheem Camry, I don't know what to tell you. It drives around there. I hold my foot down and hold the wheel straight, so it does everything I need it to today.
Thanks, Christopher. Guys?
All right, first car on track is going to be Kyle Larson. Welcome Todd Gill into the booth. We invited you to come up, talk about the momentum you've built this season and your season so far, which suddenly has a bunch of different lanes to it than how you started out the year.
It really does, right? Most of these guys are, like you said, in the same lane, same car, same team most of the year. And this year I'm in my 3rd number in the first 10 races or so. So maybe not ideal, but
Todd, you earned that, right? That wasn't necessarily, I mean, that was probably the original plan. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, Zane Smith comes in this quick. Wait a minute, he's in my car? So, but I think, I don't know this, I want you to tell me, but seems like you earned that opportunity to say, hey, we better keep this kid in the car full time.
Yeah, it's been really nice. Just the Rick Ware guys were pretty much, as soon as we found out and reached out to them, they were willing to do something. And to me, that just shows that there's a lot of good people in the sport, right? They're looking out for me. I feel like it's almost a growing opportunity for both of us, right? They're trying to improve, and I needed races to fill out the schedule. And then, here at Talladega, I'm in the 36 car with the front row. So, I feel like most of this was almost done before Daytona, but I definitely certainly think our results last month or so hasn't hurt that for sure.
Well, to me, you earned it, and I do believe that. You've done a whale of a job in that race car this year, and, you fought for that ride, and you kept it.
So 53.30 for Kyle Larson. You will not have your regular pit crew. You're with actually a different team within Front Row Motorsports. But I think it's important, won't you have your regular spotter tomorrow?
Yes, I will. So Britt Anderson has been with me this year. It's our first year. Actually, my spotter last year got sick at this race in the fall, and Britt filled in, and he did an excellent job. And so being able to go to this year full time, I think we just have a lot of momentum on our side, and we've put in a lot of work on these type of racetracks. So I'm very thankful that I was able to have him with me this weekend.
Kyle Larson, 53.44 in round 1, 53.30 in round 2, so a 10th quicker. Chris Buescher on the clock. How about all the Ford teams? How much do they work together?
Yeah, I think, for here, this is the biggest point of where, at least front row, we get to, be with these guys in meetings, I'm sure tomorrow morning at some point. As far as pit strategy, picking pit stalls, you don't really necessarily want to be by another Ford. There's a lot of things that go into it from their side of it, but for me, it's about looking out for me, my teammates first off, I'd say, and then manufacturer a close second, and everyone else. We're just trying to pass everyone else. We don't really care about them too much.
Larry, kind of surprises me looking at Larson's lap. He ran a 53.44 that first run and picked up about a 10th and a half to a 53.30. That surprises me a little bit.
He was 3/10 quicker on his get up to speed lap.
Oh.
He was one of the last cars to go in round 1. That's heating the hubs, heating the drivetrain, heating the running gear. That's less rolling resistance.
Okay, you answered my question. I was going to say, where do you credit that to? And it has to be that. I mean, I wouldn't think that there's any kind of adjustment you could do to pick up that much. That's quite a bit. So obviously you probably see the same thing with all the rest of these cars.
So they're allowed cooling fans on pit road, but not the big cool down units to circulate coolant out of the engine and get everything cooled down that we used to see.
Yeah, but think about the lubrication. Think about the oils, the greases, the axles, everything with that heat that Larry talked about. I mean, that's a 1/10.5 on a 2.5-mile racetrack.
That's pretty big. Christopher Bell, similar pickup. He is now fastest. Joey Logano on track, and Todd Gilliland up in the booth with us. Your dad, David, was a very, very good racer on these plate tracks, these super speedway drafting tracks. What kind of advice do you get from Dad?
I always get just be patient, right? But I think there is something to that. Like when I was growing up, I always came to these races excited as a kid because, you know, I kind of knew this was his best chance at getting a good result or even, you know, going out and getting a win. So I always grew up really excited to come to these places, and I still have that same excitement today. I always loved pack racing. I feel like, you know, in different ways, it's almost funny how you can kind of control your own destiny while, I mean, also you're still at risk of getting taken out in a wreck, but you can push, and at certain times, maybe in other times it's not worth the risk.
Obviously you see his hand out the window as I circled that there, but look how smooth that wheel is. That old hot rod handles. Hardly moves that wheel at all.
I think my car's bouncing a little bit more than his. I don't know about that, but it looked good.
Very good.
Joey Logano, second fastest. Here is his teammate Ryan Blaney.
You know, the telltale sign on heat in the drivetrain, running gear, and the hubs will be Ty Gibbs in the 54. He went the earliest of all 10 of these cars as far as round number 1.
I mean, looking, even Bell ran a 53.38 in the first round, 53.24 on the stop right now. Everybody's picking up. It's the money lap. It's the one that's going to put you on the pole.
So the qualifying order for the final round, they go slowest to fastest among the 10 cars that advanced.
Blaney's get up to speed lap is the fastest we've seen so far, period. Round 1 or round 2.
I mean, look at the difference. You see it in the ghost car. Pulling the doors off for Christopher Bell, driving off from him. It's going to be a big lap.
Blaney was a 33 in round 1.
There it is.
12, a 2/10 pickup.
That's a big
for
lap.
Ryan Blaney.
Doug Yates flexing on him.
So 5 down, 5 to go in final round qualifying at Talladega. Ryan Blaney now fastest. Ryan Blaney climbs out after posting the fastest lap so far. Larry Mack pointed out he had the fastest get up to speed lap of the entire morning prior to posting a lap that was 0.2 of a second faster than his round 1 time. Here's Martin Truex for Toyota.
The driver's eye. One thing I noticed right off the bat, Todd, is his visor's just cracked a little bit.
Yep, that's interesting. I feel like for qualifying, I don't even know what I'm doing most of the time. I think, I guess especially here, right? It's a good time to make sure everything runs. Your seat's comfortable. The mirrors are where they need to be. What
a cool steering wheel. We'll talk about showing out. That is awesome. Camouflage, going with the Bass Pro Shops theme. Turkey season in full effect.
What do you think he's doing the rest of the day? We have some time off. Going hunting, fishing?
I'm going to tell you, he'll be on a pond somewhere around here with a fishing pole in his hand, wetting a line.
What are you going to do the rest of the day? Notice you were not on the boulevard last night.
Yeah, I might have to go check it out tonight or this afternoon, but
it's a school night, Todd.
It is a school night. Yeah, like our one a week, right? And we can't. So, yeah, I don't know. It's I'll watch a lot of racing here on Fox, and hopefully learn a thing or two this afternoon.
Now you're learning. I tell you what, quick study right there. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Huh? That was a great plug. Good job.
I didn't know if I'd ever see this view, so this is a really cool one to see, and I guess this is what our spotters see. It makes me a little bit nervous, I guess, for us going down the backstretch.
I'll tell you a better view is when you're down there in victory lane looking up at this press box. That's the view you want.
Truex third fastest. Generator skills on your car. What is that?
Yeah, Clint was a little bit confused. Nothing to do with generators. They're an online service that you can kind of learn more about, say, Microsoft Word, Excel, stuff like that that can be more valuable to you when you go to somewhere you're trying to get employed. And it's big, right? Anything, any extra skill you can bring to a company is huge.
Well, you need to talk to those guys because the biggest word on the whole car is generator.
Right? Hey, it generates your career.
There you go. Good plug.
Mine's going to need a pulse start, I think.
Speaking of generators, there is no more character that exists in life than in the infield at Talladega. You see it all, and there's always that guy. It's got a borrowed Winnebago. You know the story. Eric Church's Winnebago, the Talladega song, but the borrowed generator too, and it's so loud. Oh my gosh! You just pray that the thing runs out of gas so you can get some sleep.
Eric Almirola may take the pole from Blaney. Yes, 53.01.
Man, so close, flirting with that 52-second bracket. Big lap.
It's that Ford horsepower.
That is
a little bit.
0.2 of a second pickup for Almirola and Stuart Haas. All right, 3 cars to go. Here is Denny Hamlin.
Great plate racer. Denny Hamlin won so many times on these racetracks, always in the right place at the right time.
All right,
speed in this race car, excuse me. The speed in this race car really puts me in Denny Hamlin's corner. This could be a big race for him tomorrow.
What's the difference out there on the track between following a good plate racer and following a great restrictor plate racer?
Yeah, I think there really is a difference. I think I'm still trying to learn what it is, but when you're behind Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, those guys make a move and it's almost like they can see what's happening, right? Like 5 rows ahead, and they almost like instantly gain a lane, and then they slowly do that, and then they find themselves in the front. And watching all these races growing up, Denny was king of doing it all for a while, so it's really cool to see.
Speaking of cool to see, 52-second bracket, 52.97 for Denny Hamlin. Baby's fast. All right. What the difference is for me is exactly what you're talking about. These opportunities on this racetrack, they're always there. And deciphering which opportunity to take and then which one to pull the reins back on that thoroughbred, that is so important. All of the cars can go, but if you take the wrong opportunity and the right things don't materialize in front of you, or more importantly behind you, in other words, you don't have the right cars going with you that you can count on, that will stay with you through the momentum side of that swing, that's where the juice is. You cannot make the wrong mistake, especially in the closing laps of this thing.
All right, 2 cars to go. Ty Gibbs had the earliest first round lap of the 10 drivers who advanced. Trying to beat Denny Hamlin and be the second driver in under 53 seconds here.
Really close.
Third for Gibbs, 53.02.
Look how tight those times are. 97, an 01, and an 02. So close.
Final driver, wheeling the old man's tractor. Tony Stewart's Mahindra tractor here. Here's Chase Briscoe for Stuart Haas, fastest in round 1 with a 53.28.
Definitely farm season. Getting them crops in the ground. A lot of Mahindras out there burning that fuel. It surprises me. I really thought after his lap, that 53.28 that he ran in the first round, I thought he was going to be the one. I don't know, not so much. Speaking of Tony, he'll be joining us tomorrow in the booth. Be flying in late tonight. Called in, talked to him last night. Fresh off of his big drag racing win. Pretty crazy to think all the wins that boy's won over the years in all different facets of motorsports.
That was really cool to see, especially, like you said, something he's probably not done much in his life, right? Drag racing. We were joking about your guys' illustrations of the drivers. They must have did the same thing with Tony right there.
Briscoe, 53.08. He is 4th, and there is your Busch Light pole winner for the GEICO 500. 37th career pole for Denny Hamlin.
Shot fired for sure. His competitor's going to be looking at this one. That's going to be the car to beat, obviously. Denny Hamlin with a fast race car. Look out.
It's a Toyota Ford front row. for Hamlin and Almirola. 136th career pole for Joe Gibbs Racing. Josh.
Yeah, down here with Denny Hamlin, your pole winner for the race here at Talladega. So how does this set you up for tomorrow's race?
Well, you got track position now. Now you just got to maintain it, and hopefully all the Toyotas work well together, and we're going to hopefully keep it up front all day. That's the key, not make any mistakes, and we'll find ourselves with a shot at it at the end.
Thanks, Denny.
All right, thank you.
Denny Hamlin wins the pole. Almirola will be on the outside pole. Todd Gilliland, thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah, I have an appreciation for what you guys do. It's a beautiful view up here, so hopefully you guys talk about me more tomorrow.
We'll see. All right, Race Hub Weekend Edition next, then the General Tire 200 ARCA race, then race day, then the Xfinity Series race. We'll see you tomorrow.